To make a classic granny square, I am using a 4 ply crochet yarn with a 3 mm crochet hook. To begin with, we are going to make a magic circle or a magic ring, and then we are going to chain 3. This chain 3 acts as our first double crochet. Now we are going to put 2 more double crochets into the magic ring. Now this structure with 2 double crochets and a chain 3 which acts like a double crochet, this is called a granny cluster. So this granny cluster is what a classic granny square is made up of by repeating this pattern. So now we had made our first one. Now we are going to chain 2. We will put one more granny cluster in the magic ring. So 1 double crochet, this is the second double crochet, and this is the third double crochet. So this completes our second granny cluster. Again chain 2, and now we are going to put 2 more granny clusters into this magic ring separated by chain 2. So when I have made those 2, I will meet you back here. Now here I have completed all the 4 granny clusters separated by chain 2 space in between them. Now this is the last granny cluster that I made, so I am going to now chain 2, and I will slip stitch into the top chain of the chain 3 that we made in the beginning. So this completes our first round. Now for the second round we are going to chain 3, and we are going to make a corner in this space. For that, turn your work, put 2 double crochet. This completes our first granny cluster. Make 2 chains, put another granny cluster in the same chain 2 space of the last round. That means make 3 more double crochets in that same chain 2 space. So here we have 2 granny clusters separated by chain 2. This is in the corner. Now we are going to chain 1. This chain 1 separates us from the next corner. In every corner we are going to put 1 granny cluster separated by 2 chain, and then we are going to put another granny cluster. So here also we are going to repeat. So let me do this one with you. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and a third double crochet. This completes our granny cluster. Now we are going to chain 2, and we are going to put 1 more granny cluster in this same space. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and a third double crochet. So we are going to make the same pattern in all the 4 corners, and in between them we will just chain 1. So I will see you here at the end of this round. Now as you can see, we have made 2 granny square and a chain 2 in all the 4 rounds. Now I have chain 1 here, and I am going to put a slip stitch into the third chain of the first chain 3. So here at the top I am going to put the slip stitch to complete the second round. So this is how our granny square looks after second round. Again for the next round we will make chain 3, and then we are going to turn. Now this is not the chain 2 space of the corner, This is not the chain 2 space of the corner, this is the chain 1 space of the previous round. We will put a granny cluster, only a single granny cluster here in the chain 1 space. So this is one granny cluster. After that, chain 1, and again here in the chain 2 space we are going to put a corner. So we make 2 granny clusters separated by chain 2. So the first granny cluster with 3 double crochet, chain 2, again 3 double crochets, third double crochet, and this completes our granny cluster. So this is our corner for this round. Now we next come to the chain 1 space of the previous round. Again we are going to chain 1 and we are going to put a single granny cluster here, not 2, just 1. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and the next double crochet. We complete our granny cluster. Again we chain 1 and again we have reached the corner. In this corner also we are going to put 2 granny clusters separated by chain 2. So this will be the pattern for the whole classic granny square design. We put 1 granny cluster in chain 1 space, and in the corner chain 2 space we put 2 granny clusters separated by chain 2. So after completing this round, I will meet you here. So here I have completed this third round. Now I am just going to chain 1 here and complete by slip stitching in the topmost chain of the first chain 3. So this completes our third round. So this is how our granny square looks after 3 rounds. Again for the 4th round we are going to chain up 3. So remember, in this design we are always chaining up 3. And also after chaining 3 we turn our design this way. So after each round, after chaining 3, we are going to turn. Now see, this is the chain 1 space, so we are just going to make 1 granny cluster here. So that means we just add 2 more double crochets to complete this granny cluster. Then chain 1. This granny cluster is complete now. Then we have again reached the corner space. In this we are going to put 2 granny clusters of 3 double crochet each, and separated by chain 2 chains, and then again we are going to put 3 double crochets together. So this is how we complete our first corner. Now if you see in this design, after we have expanded the design in the 3rd row, we have got here 2 chain 1 spaces. So in this both chain 1 space we are just going to put 1 granny cluster, and these are going to be separated with 1 chain only. So let's just go forward. So we have completed the, so here we completed the corner. 1 granny cluster, chain 2, 1 granny cluster, chain 1, put a granny cluster here, 1, 2, and this completes our granny cluster in this chain 1 space. Chain 1 again, and in the next chain 1 space we are going to put another granny cluster. That means a group of 3 double crochets together. Chain 1 again, and now we have reached at the corner chain 2 space. Here we are going to put 2 granny clusters separated by chain 2. So this is a group of 3 double crochet. This completes our first granny cluster. Now we will chain 2. Again put one more granny cluster to complete this corner. So as you can see, here we have corner, and in between two corners we have two chain 1 spaces where we put one granny cluster each. So I will go ahead and make this design, and I will meet you here at the end of this row. So this is what our granny square looks at the end of the 4th round. Now I have chained 1 here, and I am going to slip stitch again in the top chain of the chain 3 space. So this completes 4 rounds of our design. Now for the 5th round again, we are going to chain 3 and turn a work. So we'll start by making, this is the chain 1 space of the previous round. We'll make one granny square here. This again is the chain 1 space, so we'll put one more granny square here. This is the corner. In the corner we put one granny square, chain 2, one granny square, and so this way we are going to make as many rounds as we like. Always remember, we put one granny square in, we put one granny cluster in one chain 1 space, and we make a corner in the chain 2 space. So one granny cluster will be here. This will have corner. Again, now we have 3 chain 1 spaces on each side. We will put one granny cluster into each of this chain 1 space, and we will make corner in the corner chain 2 space. So this is how you can just make this classic granny square into as many rounds as you want, and with different colors. You can use different colors for different rounds and make a very big granny square. So this was my tutorial for a classic granny square crochet, and I hope you have learned how to make a granny cluster, which is a set of 3 double crochet, and then how do we make a granny square from that. So thank you for watching this video.